Hi everybody, Migs from MigsTCG here, and today I want to talk to you about Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, and since the release of Cyberstorm Access, a few new decks have taken the spotlight. So today I want to give you a list of the top 10 staples and or hand traps you should have in your deck or side, so you can be ready for anything. Now, as I said, with the rise of Cyberstorm Access, a few things have changed. Pearly is now playable, Super Heavy Samurai is now out and about, Branded SP got a few new cards, and multiple variations and a myriad of other cards came out that support other different kinds of strategies. Now, thanks to there being no ban list just as of the making of this video, we still have decks from the previous format like Kashtira running around, and it's still the best deck in the room. However, these 10 cards should help you in your, let's say, for your successful endeavors. We want you to succeed, we want you to do good, because it is national season and we are all trying to qualify for Worlds. For those of you who do, I'll be super impressed, and if I can help you even out, even if it's just a little bit, I will take it. So let's get started. Number 10. Number 10 would be Nibiru. Nibiru is seen play here and there, but it's not quite as heavily played as it was in the previous format. Nibiru is still a good card though, especially against Super Heavy Samurai, Sword Soul that is still running around, and some other decks that tend to summon quite often. Now Nibiru can be a really good kind of punishment for your opponent if they overextend, and it could give you a way for, you know, it gives you something as well. Disruption and a good removal for your opponent. So number 10 is going to be Nibiru. Now number 9 is going to be Ash Blossom. Branded Despia used to be a more played deck in the previous format, but even towards the end of that format, Branded Despia was essentially kind of dropping off slowly. Now there's only a few players who actually continue to play it dedicatedly. And like I said, with Cyberstorm Access, new support came out. But Ash Blossom is still the best way to shut down a Branded Despia deck. Sadly for me and my wife, because we are both Branded Despia players, but Ash still hurts. It also does hit all the other strategies a little bit. Not as strong as it does hit for Branded, but Ash Blossom is a good one to just have on the side if you want to keep a copy of it in your deck. If you're like us, a Despia player, you want to cross out designated target, just keep the one. Now, number 8. Number 8 are the Bystials. Whether it's Saturnier, Magna Hut, whichever Bystial you want to name, the Bystials are good hand traps and good extension for your play. Now, Bystials are not seeing a lot of play because a lot of decks do not play that light or dark, and Tier Limits is no longer a thing. So Bystials get niche play here and there, especially against strategies like Mathmech, but you never want to be caught not having a Bystial in your extra deck, because Mathmech is a pretty strong deck, and there are some Mathmech variations that have become pretty strong, and you know, they topped quite a few. So like I said, Bystials are a good way to hurt those Mathmechs. Number 7. Number 7 is Dark Ruler No More. Now, let me give you a scenario. You rolled the die, you went high-low with your opponent chose high, you rolled your die, you get a 2, your opponent gets a 6. What is the one card you want to have in your hand as soon as your opponent tells you you are going second? That is right, Dark Ruler No More. Because it doesn't matter what type of strategy your opponent has, unless they have a way to turn off your magic spell or your spell cards completely, that Dark Ruler No More coming down is basically going to help you clear their board in such a lovely fashion. Your opponent will hurt, you will be happy. It's a win-win situation. Come on, Dark Ruler No More for number 7. No more needed to be said. Now, number 6, we start getting into more tech options here that are a little bit more played. If you look at any lists for regional qualifiers, for YCSs, whatever, at this moment, even if it's in your locals, You can ask around. These next few cards are going to be played quite heavily because they're just out there right now and they're the best ways to shut down the new strategies. So number 6 would be Dimension Shifter. It's not going to hurt everybody, but it will hurt those decks that are graveyard reliant. So if you open up your Dimension Shifter right off the bat, you can toss that one out, and your opponent, especially if they're playing super heavy samurais, they're playing Despia, it'll hurt. It will hurt, even for Math Mech players, Drytron, whatever. If it relies on the graveyard, it does hurt. Will it hurt Pearlies? No, not that much. You know, don't really care about the graveyard that much. But everything else, yes, they will cry. Now, number 5. Number 5 would be Droll and Lock. Again, Droll and Lock hits super heavy. It hits Pearly, but not as strongly. It hits Branded, again, not as strongly. It hits a lot of different strategies out there. So Droll and Lock is a card that is being played right now, and if you look at any list, they either have it on the main or they have it on their side. But Droll and Lock is out there, it is seeing play. But you want to have at least one copy. Again, if you're using cross-out designators, you can use that as a cross-out target just to allow yourself to not get locked by your opponent. Haha, see what I did there? Droll and Lock. But either way, make sure you guys have that Droll and Lock and, you know, lock it down. Number 4. Number 4, it's going to be Triple Tactics Talents. Me, myself, and my deck right there, I am running at least 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talents. Again, in this meta where we don't have a ban list yet. It's kind of like a limbo situation and we're waiting for one. But we did have a new set release and we are getting new releases in June. Triple Tactics Talents makes it so when your opponent who has those options or flex options in their deck to play hand traps, you can actually get something out of those hand traps. If they want to interrupt you, then you can make it so you don't fully lose to it. You can stake one of their pieces, you can look at their hand, or draw 2 cards depending on what it is that you need in that moment. You have those options to do so, and you don't have to get just locked in. So Triple Tactics Talents is my solid number 4 pick. Like I said, right now there's a lot of hand traps running rampant. Why not? Give it a chance. You might see that you enjoy it. Number 3. 3 is Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre is a card that wasn't heavily played, but it's always kind of been there. Right now, because of Pearlies, because of Super Heavies, because of whatever. Right now, it's seeing a lot more play, either in main deck as a side out option, or on the side as an option to bring in, depending on what the matchup requires. Ghost Ogre is a good card. It eliminates targets. It does not negate. So just keep that in mind, everybody. It doesn't negate any effects. Most of you already know this, but there are some people who still don't, and they think, oh, because the target left the field, then the effect basically didn't go through. No, the effect still goes through. If it's an effect to draw, whatever, that still goes through. It's just now if they were going to use that material as something else, as an extension to their play, they can no longer do that because that target has been removed. Let's not forget it, but number 3 would be Ghost Ogre. Number 2, we're getting to the good stuff here. Number 2 is going to be a weird option. Personally, I feel like it's a really strong option. If you run it on the side, it gives you so many good ways of playing into your opponent's deck. It gives you so many ways of hurting their strategies or even extending your play. So number 2 would be Ciphering Gamma. And of course, if you run the Gamma, you also have to run the Driver. So that's an extra card in your deck that you don't necessarily need, but it's a necessary option because Gamma is just so good at shutting down those hand traps that are running rampant right now. Anything that your opponent can play from their hand, Gamma can stop as long as you do not have anything on the field. So Ciphering Gamma, it's a great card. It's a great card to bounce back with, just in case your opponent does decide, hey, you open Branded Fusion, you have nothing else, your opponent tries to hit you with something. And if your board is cleared, it also allows you to extension. That gives you 2 bodies automatically. You can go into a Synchro 7, you can go into a Link, whatever you need, whatever you have in your side deck as well, even in your extra. So just keep that in mind. My pick for number 2, Ciphering Gamma. Now, number 1. You all should have seen this one coming. It's probably in every single main and side out there right now, because these two cards, yes, I couldn't decide. They both do the same, but they both kind of have a little bit different options. So the number one would be Santa Claus and Kurikara, Divine Incarnate. They both do the same thing, whereas Kurikara can help you clear a full field as long as they have activated their effects. Santa Claus is a kind of like a better kaiju. So, however, the Santa Claus does end up drawing your opponent cards. So make sure that you do take the Santa Claus out in the first turn if you're going to use it. But so far, that was my list of the top 10. Anything from clearing fields to helping you stop your opponent to shut down your opponent's field is there. Make sure that you have these cards for the national season and for the upcoming meta. And let's hope the ban list comes out, because I think we all kind of want to see it. We all want to get out of that limbo. Are you planning on playing any of these in your deck? If you are, leave it in the comments down below. In the meantime, let's not wait for it to be a good one. Let's make it a good one. See you guys Saturday the 7th. Bye.